Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am your host, Brett Murphy, and for today's video it is going to be another ranking, and I am going to be ranking all 8 Zack Snyder movies. So it's officially been one whole week since the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League on HBO Max. And since that day, hashtag Restore the Snyderverse has been absolutely blowing up the Twitter sphere. So now seems like an appropriate time to count down this wildly popular director's filmography. And so, without further ado, let's hop right into things. Number 8, Sucker Punch. So Sucker Punch is essentially what you get when you put anime, a video game, and a comic book into a blender, and then chopped it up into a few wildly entertaining music videos, and then scattered it throughout a dull plot set in a 50s era asylum, and a fantasy-filled burlesque-themed brothel. Those few scenes, though, are very entertaining. The action is slick, packs a punch, is well choreographed, and very well shot. But sadly, they don't last very long and are only every so often. And I also find myself a bit confused about the message of the movie. Now, Zack claims that it's about female empowerment. But then on the other hand, I don't really get why all of the main characters have to run around in skimpy outfits throughout the whole movie. Aside from that, though, the visuals range from stylish and excellent to laughably cartoonish. The soundtrack is killer and the main group of girls are fine. Nothing really notable to report, but Oscar Isaac does play a superb villain. A very menacing presence, and he crushes it as always. Number 7, Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole. Okay, let's face it, we are not all fans of Zack Snyder for his animated outings. Actually, his only animated outing. However, this one is actually pretty darn good. Now, it's not the best animated movie of all time, but as Zack's one and only dive into the medium, it's actually pretty well made. Gorgeous animation, a fantastic cast, and a unique story. Now, it won't blow you away by any means, but it's certainly worth checking out if you're at least a little interested to see how Zack Snyder handles animation. Number 6, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now, like I've said before, I have a very love-hate relationship with this movie. When I first left the theater opening night, I was very disappointed, but a short few months later when we got the Ultimate Edition of this movie, I quickly came to realize that I would never watch the theatrical version ever again. But regardless, it still has many of the same flaws. The plot relies so heavily on many conveniences and coincidences. Shoehorning Wonder Woman and Doomsday into this movie also was a bit of a mistake, even if it was a pretty badass one. And no matter how many times I watch it, I am never going to warm up to Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. He doesn't do it for me as the character. I love Ben Affleck as Batman, even if I disagree with his whole murderous killing spree in this one, but at least it's a little bit more fleshed out, so it's slightly more warranted, I guess. And the warehouse scene, oh my god. Most likely the best live-action Batman scene of all time, because it absolutely kicks ass. And Henry Cavill shows once again why he is the best Superman we have ever had. And their titular throwdown, although short-lived, is epic as all hell. Number 5, Watchmen. I believe this movie is the best example out there of comic book pages jumping directly onto the screen. There are countless scenes that look like they are ripped straight from the pages and meticulously crafted to look absolutely identical. Aside from that, the casting is absolutely spot on. And each of these actors give incredible and quite memorable performances. The visuals are stunning, the action is fast-paced and hard-hitting. I mean, this movie definitely warrants its R rating. And although it does make a few controversial changes from its source material, I actually quite like them because they are more suitable for a modern audience. I mean, the movie released in '09 and the original material's back from the '80s, so a lot of that stuff is a bit goofier now. Nevertheless, Zack clearly knows what he's doing when it comes to these comic book adaptations, and this might be the best example of that. Number 4, 300. A sprawling swords and sandals epic unlike any other. A beautiful blend of comic book excitement, over-the-top, stylized action, six-packs, and badassery. Gerard Butler gives a commanding performance as King Leonidas, and watching him with the 300 Spartans shield to shield taking on hundreds of thousands of Persians is truly something to behold. This movie is absolutely jam-packed with quotable moments. I mean, the endlessly memed "This is Sparta," "Then we will fight in the shade," "Tonight we dine in hell." This movie just has epic written all over it. And just like the past entry, this movie looks like it was ripped straight from the comics. That being said though, it definitely won't be for everyone. Like I said, the action is super stylized, and this is where Zack Snyder's slow, fast-mo style of filmmaking really came into play, and became insanely popular after this. It doesn't accurately depict the real historical events like some people might be suspecting. Again, this is an adaptation of the comic book material. So there are monsters and demons, and the main villain believes he's a god and he's like 12 feet tall. So yes, it is awesome, and it is damn entertaining, but it won't be for everyone. Number 3, Dawn of the Dead Remake. Look, I don't really have much to say about this one aside from the fact that it is my favorite zombie movie of all time. Although it does fall in line with a lot of the typical zombie movie tropes and stereotypes and cliches. But for me, none of that takes away from how awesome this movie is. The zombies are fast, brutal, and relentless. The action is so gory and over the top. And I love the conflicting ideologies amongst the characters. Like its original counterpart, it has a very memorable setting. And it's all topped off by a thrilling and nail-biting finale in one of the most iconic movie openings of all time. Number 2, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Ladies and gentlemen, hashtag release the Snyder Cut has finally come to be. After 4 long, grueling years, we finally have it. And it is everything that everyone who ever typed out that hashtag could have possibly hoped and dreamed for. A 4-hour epic filled with heart, incredible jaw-dropping action sequences, grand set pieces, a kick-ass score, some truly beautiful character moments, and much greater depth and development, a much more improved and worthy villain in the new Steppenwolf, and then of course, frickin' Darkseid, a lot of genuinely intriguing and promising setup for a greater, more expanded universe, and each and every one of the cast members get their time to shine. Start to finish, I adored this movie, and I honestly think it just gets better on every rewatch. My only complaint still remains the same though. I feel there are a few too many scenes tacked on at the end. When Superman opens his shirt and it's the end of Silas Stone's dialogue, I really could have done if the movie just ended right there. Instead we get like 3 extra scenes kinda tacked on. And I really think you probably could have just stuck with one and saved the movie like 20 minutes. But that's not me complaining about the runtime because the runtime really doesn't bother me at all. Aside from that though, this is the Justice League we wanted, this is the Justice League we deserved, and now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to hashtag restore the Snyderverse. Let's keep it going. And number 1 is Man of Steel. Yep, it's still number 1 for me. I mean, what can I say about this movie again that I haven't already said in any of my past videos, including my DCEU ranking? It is the pinnacle of the character in my eyes. Henry Cavill is Superman, the best we've ever had and the best we will ever have. And for me, it is the best the character has ever been across any of the mediums he has appeared in. He doesn't feel like an overpowered, godlike, unstoppable force. He's vulnerable, inexperienced, and shows weakness. And for the first time ever, I feel like Superman can't be beaten. He's so unsure of himself and his place in the world, and I love that take on this character. I mean, this is the first time ever that I've actually genuinely cared about Superman. Because he's not just this god mode boy scout who's all smiles and happy-go-lucky all the time and no one can even lay a finger on him. In the action here in this movie, this whole city-destroying, for some reason, controversial action, this is exactly how Superman fights would actually go down. Why do you bother complaining and arguing? It's 2 gods throwing down in the middle of a city. What did you expect? Also, Michael Shannon is exceptional as Zod and the best villain in the DCEU to date. The visuals are stunning and the score is some of Hans Zimmer's best work. The supporting cast is absolutely stacked and further amplifies this movie's magnificence. It is one of my favorite superhero movies of all time, it is my favorite Superman movie of all time, it is the best of the DCEU, and the best that Zack Snyder has to offer. So that is all for today's video, folks. Be sure to let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with my ranking. And feel free to let me know what you'd like to see me rank next. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you'd like to see more content, consider subscribing to my channel and ringing that little bell icon. That way you can be notified about all of my latest uploads. And as always, stay safe. Thank you so much for watching. And that's a wrap. Hey you, yeah you, if you made it this far, just know I appreciate you, and while you're here, consider hitting that subscribe button.